Well, hi, all my friends out there. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and holiday and time with friends and family, and hope there was no incidents. Anyway, looking forward to the new year. Looking forward to Trump being inaugurated, and so we can get on with stuff. And I'm hearing a big jet fly overhead, so hopefully you won't pick that up. We've got like I'm near Oxnard, so we've got Point Hueneme out there, and get a lot of jets going over occasionally, not all the time, but anyway, hopefully that's what that is. All right, so what else is going on? Trump's just making inroads left and right. Wanting to abolish the Federal Reserve. I'm like, yes! That is so cool. Now, if you could just add the IRS to that, that would be great. And Congress is convening right now for the first time. I love all the, the newness of it, them coming back, and they're going to get ready to work. I see a little kid there. Anyway, so we'll see what's going on. Capitol Hill is a-buzzing. And Donald Trump just announced who his ambassador to Israel will be, his ex-attorney that helped him with his bankruptcy. I can't think of the guy's name. David something. He is a devout Jew, Orthodox, and he's all for what Netanyahu is doing and for the expansion. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens and how the Lord works through this man. So in the meantime, be loving to, people. Frankly, I wish that Obama and Michelle or Michael, whatever, would just come out and just say who they are. And they should do it in Harlem. They should have a big old event there, and just come out and just finally come out and say who they are. That would do more, I think, for the country and the LGBT people and all that stuff. I think that would be something, they lied, okay? When you lie and you're not honest with people, and one thing piles up upon another, and there's just lie after lie and deceit and deviousness and shadow government and all that stuff, it just makes people pissed. And so, it's very difficult to be understanding or forgiving, of a person who has that kind of character and is a puppet for George Soros and other elites that are even more, that we don't even hear about, we hear about the Koch brothers and the Soroses, but there's other very, very wealthy people that we don't know about that are running the show. So, anyway, that's what's going on. I can't think of anything else. All right, so we're still in Samuel, 1 Samuel. We're on chapter 17. God is bringing up a new king. Saul is not going to be the king. He displeased the Lord. And so the Lord has chosen David out of Jesse, out of the Benjamin line that Jesus eventually comes from, okay? So the Israelites and the Philistines being ready to battle, Goliath challenges a combat. David accepts the challenge and slays him. Saul takes notice of David. Okay, so now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle and were gathered together at Shochoh, which belongeth to Judah, pitched between Shochoh and Azekah and Ephesdammim. Gosh, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ephesdammim. Okay. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, set the battle in array against the Philistines. The Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. So he could have been anywhere from, he's a giant. Most giants were anywhere between 9 and 15 feet tall. Okay, so, so as tall as, a basketball net, okay. All right, and so he had a helmet of brass on his head. He was armed with a coat of mail, that's like chain mail, that you've seen knights wear, right? And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. It was a heavy sucker, okay? Because he was big. So it would weigh down any man. No, you wouldn't even be able to wear that mail if that was the only thing you had on. You wouldn't be able to fight. Okay. So he had greaves of brass upon his legs, target of brass between his shoulders. The staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spearhead weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. So he had an armor bearer. So they had to carry the stuff, okay? I mean, we're talking heavy metal that he's got on him and that he carries in his staff and his spear. He stood and he cried to the armies of Israel and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine, and you servants to Saul? Choose you a man of you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and serve us. The Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now, David was the son of that Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons. The man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to battle were Eliab, the firstborn. The next unto him was Abinadab, and the third was Shammah. And David was the youngest of the 3 eldest that followed Saul. And David went in and returned from Saul to free his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. 40. Okay. And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren. Carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. So just go comfort them, give them some food, give them solace. Let them know that their father cares about them. And so now Saul and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning, left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to fight and shout for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper and of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. As he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, Have you seen this man that's come up? Surely to defy Israel he is come up, and it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spoke unto the men, and stood by them, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth the Philistine, and taken away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered after him in this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard that when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, Why comest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and thy haughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightst seize the battle. And David said, What have I done? Is there not a cause that he turned from him toward another, and spoke after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And the words were heard which David spoke, and they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with the Philistine. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he's a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. I went after him, and I smote him, and delivered him out of his mouth. And when he rose against me, I caught him by his beard, and I smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing that he has defied the armies of the living God. And David said moreover, that the Lord has delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, and he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said to David, Go, and the Lord be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put his helmet of brass upon his head, and he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he assayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these. I have not proved them. And David put them off of him. And he took his staff unto his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in his scrip. And his sling was in the hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. There's a whole story on the 5 stones, but I won't go into that right now. And the Philistines came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, and he was but a youth and a ruddy of fair countenance. So he's probably a redhead, okay? All right, I'm going to stop here, and I will continue, because this is a longer chapter. All right, take care. We'll see what happens. Okay, bye.